Try to just like go like this for a sec.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, yeah, it might just be a little bit low. You might want to just, you can move it up just a little bit.
1, 2, 3, 4. I say there's not like a good way to clip it to the shirt. It's
Yeah, it's already been like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Just leave our stuff to Rapture.
Sorry, Pastor Ed, you've been left behind.
Look, look.
What time are we supposed to be done now?
30:45.
That sucks. I feel like that 15 minutes is crucial for beating traffic.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tell me about it, traffic.
how long of a drive do you know that?
On the way home, it can be up to an hour.
That's right.
But if there's no traffic, it's only like
Did you say you were like northwest?
north
North.
by Wrigley Field.
Oh,
So,
that's right. You were there.
sometimes it can be as short as like 25, 30 minutes.
What do you usually take to get up there?
Lakeshore is the safer option, but you can cut up 90.
How far, what Lakeshore are you? Are you off LaSalle? You get off at LaSalle and you go up?
No, you go further north. Either Belmont or Irving Park, because Addison's between the two.
How far inland are you from Lakeshore?
I think Wrigley's about a mile, and we're about a mile past Wrigley.
Like further inland?
Further in, yeah.
All right, Adam. What's one thing that encouraged you about this sermon?
I better not have to redo this when
Oh, I have to redo this.
when he comes back. I feel like I just heard a sound. Yeah, that's probably safer.
How loud is it?
I didn't go very long, so I think we are still doing pretty good on time, anyways.
7 minutes left.
Which means I went.
18?
Man, that's real.
You had 7.5 exactly. You went 17 and a half minutes, right?
I think 18 is good though.
He's only, right, like he's a pastor. Like if it's actually an emergency, like he has to take care of it. So
Yeah.
we can just start it, and if he wants us to catch up, we can.
Let's go.
Okay. I was encouraged by the leader that we have. We do have someone who can get us where we're supposed to go.
Okay.
Don, duh.
Yeah, I just really appreciate your exhortations. You know, like, will people be able to say that we've been faithful? Will we like make it to that destination?
Mm.
And then, you know, just your call at the end. And, yeah, I really like just really drew into like the importance of being faithful and like pointing people to Jesus, because it is heartbreaking when that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dylan running the show. Isaiah.
I also loved your questions. They're very, very like direct.
Okay.
You know, like, who do you trust as your leader?
Yeah.
Are you faithful like Moses? Like really just using the text also like kind of jobless in the heart as well.
Yeah.
Really, really encouraging.
I like it whenever you're talking about what our most important calling is. Heavenly calling.
Yeah, I think it's encouraging to know that as ministry leaders and people pursuing ministry, like we have the power to point people in the right direction, and our actions directly will impact our people's direction.
That's good.
Improvements.
I think the concept of the second point I struggle to figure out how to articulate. No, we are doing sermon feedback, but Ed slipped away.
He stepped away.
He stepped away to take a call.
So sorry about that. Here, there, see.
No problem.
Yeah, so I just think there were some concepts in that
Did y'all start?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we're just starting the second part, so
Just got to improve it. Do you have any something that encouraged you?
Well, the question is particularly as it relates to what if someone is praying a certain prayer for the people in my congregation as it relates to my faithfulness. I thought that was not only a well-placed question, but a very poignant one.
Yeah.
To me personally.
and then I said I struggled to articulate the second point. I didn't feel confident in my ability to explain that section.
Okay, keep going. Where we at?
I think Don was started.
First round of improvements.
All right. The first thing, I don't love the CEO illustration, just because I don't like where I've worked, no one liked the CEO. I mean, they just seem so out of touch to us.
Yeah.
So at least to me, like I kind of already put me like against that idea.
Yeah.
I think you could like build on that, contrast.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, I don't like the boss.
That's good.
So,
Don't want to associate negative connotations with Jesus.
yeah.
I would say, concerning your main point, it seemed a bit too broad. Whenever you said the fix our attention on Jesus, that was it, right? I was like, oh, that's like Hebrews 12. I could probably point to a few other Hebrews passages that could use that.
Yeah.
So a bit too broad.
At the start, you said I think a couple times, like in a row, in regards to the meaning of the passage
Gotcha.
and like the understanding.
Yeah.
It took me out of it. I was just like, well, I don't care what you think. I care what the Bible thinks.
Yeah.
It's like maybe just phrasing. Of being like,
which is I think in slimming down my notes, I removed my transition helps, which probably led to that. But that's
more like just delivery thing.
Yeah, I usually don't like the phrase I think either.
Just maybe something to think about. But the passage 3:1 starts with a therefore, and so point maybe helping us see what the therefore is linking.
Yeah.
So we can be properly situated into where this passage is coming from.
That's good.
So just a delivery point. There's something a little bit off-putting as it relates to how you're using your hands. It should be a movement that you do, sort of moving forward. It's hard to describe.
You'll see it on the video.
I can watch it.
Yeah, you'll see it.
Okay.
So after you watch it, I think you'll recognize it. But
This.
Air push-up.
Thank you. I've never heard that before, so that's I hope it's just something I'm doing today. But
Yeah. So you started right off with like the question of, like we might be thinking like, where is my ministry? Where am I going to get placed as a church? And how can I find that?
Yeah.
And you gave us the answer. I just think you could have connected that dot for me.
Okay.
Like at the end, because I kind of had to put the answer to the question. So I just thought maybe you could draw me back to.
Okay.
I was also going to say, from that being basically your sermonic question, because you had it at the very beginning, I was wondering why you chose that, because it didn't seem to be something that was dominant throughout the passage. Nothing.
I did not like that question either. That was one of those where I was just beating my head against the wall, and that was all I could land on. So,
Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys confirming that I was wrong on that.
I thought you had an illustration of the undercover boss coming in.
Yeah.
I felt like that could have been a really, really good gospel connection. Having like how Christ, while CEOs come and work with their regular employees.
So
who is God, creator of all things.
I don't mean to explain myself so much. That came to me in the moment. That illustration.
Yeah.
Which is why I didn't think to do that.
Good,
but
that
yeah, that
like help elevate it more. Like,
Yeah.
This is how Christ is not just equal, using your point, but greater in a way that he's also the creator who came down.
it's good.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, you had plenty of time to do it, and then, maybe it would take a little bit more work, but I think you could have taken us to Moses a little more. And really drew out, he is our apostle, he is our high priest, he's better than Moses. Like, kind of extrapolate with some of those ideas. What does it mean to be, like, why is it significant that he's our apostle? Why is it significant that he's our high priest?
Yeah.
Like, in relationship, why is it better than he's better than Moses? Just maybe bring a little bit of those things out.
Yeah.
So, one structural thing, I know after you did it, I understood what you were saying, but when you first said, okay, he's equal to the best of the best, he's better than the best of the best, just the phraseology, I think the sermon would be helped if you figure out a different way to say what you're saying with that. Because it seemed confusing when you first, I think you did it, I think it was a good move to say, okay, I got two movements and here's what they are. But then as you were doing it and trying to explain it, it's like, okay, I think there's a better way to do this so that I don't get confused as it relates to how somebody can be equal to but then better than at the same time.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I think you've been helped, or someone would have been helped if you define how house is being used. If we talk about a building all the time, or we talk about like house, like Christ is faithful son over his house, Christ is faithful son over his building, but so that whole house, I could have been helped by you defining how it's being used in whatever point in the text. All right, so what did you do well?
It's a good question. I tried a new note thing. I think it did help me. I think there were some downfalls to it, but I do think I was able to speak somewhat freely in this. But, yeah. It's hard to find something.
Yeah, I really liked your exhortations and just like the structure of it. Like I knew where you were going. You got me there. So
cool.
I would also affirm that the notes work better for you. I didn't write down anything much about it, but I wrote down that you had more vocal dynamics than I've seen before or heard before. The difference of loudness, nuance of pace, and tempo, whatever you call it, as well as your eye contact. So,
Right on.
I loved your Revelation 5 quote, just how Christ is the one to open the seal. He's the one, the Holy One.
Yeah.
We don't often talk much about his glory.
Yeah.
And I thought it was good you brought it there.
Cool.
Yeah, I think, even though you maybe didn't dig into some of the specifics, it was what you were trying to explain, I thought was repeated and it was clear, and there was multiple times where, like, if I checked out for a little bit and came back, I would still be able to jump back on the train and kind of know what you're trying to argue or what you're trying to convince us of.
I agree, and I think that I agree with CJ that section where you were using the Grammys as an example, and then switched in and started talking about Revelations worthy to receive. That was real clear and really helpful. I thought it was right on point as well.
eye contact and like you just cut that up well. And it seemed like it was well dispersed. It wasn't.
Don't latch onto you for 20 minutes straight.
It wasn't too long. You did it. But you also, it was good.
Okay.
I noticed and wanted to affirm your utilization of going on runs. Something that I can tell you were putting into test runs here. So
yeah, was the Grammys list too long? Were any of them too long?
I I think it was. Because you were on like artist, architect. Yeah. I think it was a little too long.
Okay.
But I was like, oh, nice. He's like doing this. It's good that you're building this muscle up and
Yeah.
tool up, whatever you call it.
That was going to be my second one as well. I really enjoyed the Grammy's illustration. You mentioned creator twice.
Yeah.
And creator,
That was an
besides, I think that was one of the stronger points, especially to tie that in, that revelation.
Cool.
Really encouraging.
anything left, Dylan?
Maybe they've taken I just echo what they're all saying.
So I thought there were a few different places. Again, the run was just a little bit too long, but the instinct was good, and the pace was right. And then there were another couple of places where you could have with just one more turn. So you were talking about how we're glory-bound people, and said something as relates to not just our vocation, but our location. And you could have pressed in right there a little bit more. But what you did do was good. And, well, I'm sorry. Yeah, was that the first round?
No,
That's
No,
it.
second
Okay,
round.
so good. I get it now.
All you got.
I thought your use of questions at certain points was actually not only very helpful, but masterfully done. So if you could keep that up, just hang on to that, and then keep on working on the other pieces. The questions were well placed. And I already mentioned the one that I felt was really extremely helpful. So that was good.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you listening to me.
Good job.
Preach.
That's a